Good morning. This is Tony. I want to share a story today. Something that's very interesting that it's worked out the way it did this morning. I was having last night was very interesting. I had to make a decision on something. I decided to be empathetic anyway. And empathetic is going to be sort of the key word on this video and this topic. And it's a conversation I was having with my mom just a few minutes ago. She had received a package and has had several phone calls from this company. And the company is called Empath Genetics. And they were wanting her to do a genetic DNA testing. And I'm just going to try and show you here what I found and how incredible this is. Okay, so I've got to kind of set you up for this to understand it how I've perceived it. Several days ago, I stumbled onto what's called BibleDice.com, and it's sort of a random picking of scriptures. Well, the first one that it gave me was, "Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth. And to him that knocketh it shall be opened." Well, each day I've been sort of, playing with the Bible dice and just getting a scripture in the morning. And the past couple of days I've taken some photos of the ones that I was given. Ye see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith. The next one I was given was Matthew 7:11. "If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more then shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him?" Then I was given, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Then this morning I was given two, and I'm going to read this one. "O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." So now I'm going to the conversation with my mom this morning. She had received this package, and she was telling me this company had called her several times, and it was a genetic testing. And I was asking her, I said, "Well, what are they testing for, Mom? What is it? Why are they wanting to test your genetics?" And she was telling me, the company had called several times and told her the package was coming, and that when she got it, to give them a call, and they would help her with the paperwork and to process the test and to get it back to them. And I thought, well, what's the purpose of this? Or, what is the benefit? There's a good reason, and then there is a real reason. Well, what I kind of found was pretty amazing. And what I want to show you, take a look at the name of the company, Empath Genetics. Well, what I sort of found is, genetically, some people do not have a gene that processes empathy, and some people do. Now, I don't know what they're telling her that they're genetically testing for, but a company called Empath Genetics, I would think their focus was on empathy. So, look again, this is the company Empath Genetics, 6798 Crosswind Drive. Okay, so what is empathy? It's the ability to understand and to be understanding of another person's emotions and situations. It's the ability, essentially, to relate to another's emotions. This morning, this was the scripture that I was given. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee and hungered, and fed thee, and thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. It's empathy. Some people do not have empathy. They cannot empathize or put themselves in the shoes of another person. Okay, and this is where the ego and narcissism comes in. You see, in a lot of my videos, I've shown and sort of shared the idea of the ego is the Antichrist. Well, there is no empathy in that. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. Empathy is the ability of blurring the lines between self and others. You see, it's overcoming the idea of duality, of difference. You become as gods, knowing the difference. Well, empathy overrules that. Empathy is when you can put yourself in another person's place. You can imagine what that person is going through, how it must feel, and how your life would be if you were them. That is part of what makes us human. When you lack empathy, you lose all that makes life worth living. That is dangerous. I mean, think about it. Wars are fought because of the lack of empathy. Greed is a lack of empathy. This is just a zoomed in picture of the package itself because I saw this instantly when I looked at it. And so I just sort of sketched this in. And this is a little bit bigger view of that package. I don't know, in the big F. It's just interesting that there's a company that is genetically researching, and they're called Empath Genetics. As I've flipped around looking over this concept of genetics and empathy, I found, CNN had an article on we've known that genotype can influence personality. And then, the article goes on. And I'm just going to sort of add in here meth. several years ago, I had a friend that had gotten on the meth stuff, and I was studying and reading and trying to find out, what does it do to a person and how to help her. What I found out was it burns up receptors in the frontal lobe of the brain. And in this part of the brain is where empathy and compassion is processed. So these people have no empathy, but what I learned was they require so much empathy. It's like a vampire, like they suck the empathy out of people, but they have none. Well, the same thing is pretty much with the people that do not have empathy. They require so much empathy. And it's just an amazing thing that there's this company, apparently, that I'm sure they have a good reason for why they are doing this genetic research. They're doing this genetic research, but I really wonder if they're looking at, and I've heard of the Genome Project, to where, they've been collecting genetic data on people for, I was told, since back in the 60s. Okay, but there's this company called Empath genetics. Okay, well, it's only missing a Y, and it's empathy. An empath is a person that is extremely sensitive to the emotions and feelings of other people. They don't like crowds because they are sensitive to all the emotions of people, and it's overwhelming for them. So they, don't really do crowds very well. And this morning I got this scripture before I had the conversation and really saw the package about empath genetics. And that's exactly what is being explained in this scripture. These people have empathy here. You see, they're empathizing with the hungry. They're empathizing with the thirsty and the people that they take in. And to me, it explains so much. And I know both groups of people. And you can almost pick them out because they have no empathy. They could care less if somebody was hungry or cold or sick. They think only of themselves. So I just wanted to share this. I know a lot of the people out here that I communicate with are empathetic people. I love you guys. Have a good night.